Don't be scared. I mean, there's probably some fear in there of either like, I'm not going to be good at it, or maybe not mine, this will actually hurt my business or whatever. More people are pro you making an impact and doing something good than people are opposed to it or have some sort of negative thought on it. So just tell yourself like, hey,
give it a shot.
No need to be scared. Just pick something. Pick something you can actually do. A lot of people want to be invited in to making a difference in doing something, and a lot of people just don't know how.
Hey, I'm Tensley Almand, CEO of Atlanta Mission, and in these special episodes of Unseen Atlanta, I get to sit down with key leaders, change makers, and visionaries who are shaping a better future for our city. At Atlanta Mission, we believe that transformation starts with people, and the conversations you'll hear are all part of our call to invest in Atlanta. Today, I have with me Justin Landis, who is the founder and the CEO of the Justin Landis Group and Bolst Real Estate. So Justin is a graduate of Georgia Tech. He got his start in real estate in 2003. Thanks to his sales growth, he started the Justin Landis Group in 2013. The Justin Landis Group has now grown to become one of the top 100 teams in the country, which is amazing. Justin is the founder and CEO of the Justin Landis Group and Bolst Real Estate. And also, he's on our board here at Atlanta Mission, Executive Committee. I mean, you are on the up. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I've been looking forward to this conversation and getting to sit down with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
One of my favorite people in the world. How are you? How's life?
Life is great. Got 3 daughters. They're 12, 8, and 6.
Okay.
Awesome wife, high school sweetheart. And everybody's doing really well. We found out that our youngest daughter has type 1 diabetes earlier this year. Man. So I know there's a lot of other folks listening that can, relate to that, but she has done so well with it. And, it's just been amazing to see how she's taking it in stride.
Gosh, it's amazing how resilient our kids
really
are, and kids just, they adapt.
She's handled it better than we have, and it's been great to learn from her, quite frankly.
Isn't that awesome how you get to learn from her, and you're like, wait, I'm supposed to be the dad here, and now I'm learning from you, and but she's doing good?
She's doing amazing.
That's great. How's company, how's team? I mean, top 100 team, gotta be good.
Yeah, business is doing well. So I have the Justin Landis Group and Bolst Real Estate, 2 real estate businesses here in Atlanta, and Atlanta's been a great place to do real estate. The last 20 years, the city has grown a lot. That's good for real estate, and I love what I do, and I'm thankful to be able to do it here in Atlanta.
So I don't know if you'll remember this, but this is my first impression of you. So we had a donor dinner a while back, and I was assigned a table. I was told you and your wife have to sit here. And so we sit at this table, and there's all these people, and I'm having these conversations with all these just awesome people, and I'm like, what do you do? And they're telling me this awesome stuff that they do, and next person, and then I find out they're all on your team. So I was the only one, my wife and I are the only people not on your team. So it doesn't surprise me that your team's great. We're not here to talk about leadership, but what do you attribute that to?
Oh man, I mean, it really is great people, and that's been one of the biggest keys to, if not the key to, the success that we've had in business, is just having great people. And I think we'll talk a little bit about business and purpose and that sort of stuff. But one of the things that has helped attract awesome people to the organization is the organization's drive to make a difference and do good. And that helps attract like-minded people that also want to make a difference and want to help out and want to do good.
Helps keep people, helps attract people.
Huge for attraction, retention, motivation.
Sure.
I mean, to have a higher, people are working to make a living and, to take care of their family and for lots of reasons. But if you have a higher purpose for what you're doing, it definitely helps you do better work, do the hard stuff, push through. And I think we've seen that in our business over the years as we've partnered with the Atlanta Mission for quite a while now.
Sure. So speaking of doing better work and attaching purpose to the work you do, I love this. You believe that everyone deserves a dream home. I love that statement. I've heard you say it over and over. Everyone deserves a dream home, and that the real estate industry can be a catalyst towards housing for everyone. So there's a lot there to unpack. How does that translate into everyday work for Justin Landis Group? Everyone deserves a dream home.
Yeah, where that originally first hit me, I was showing some clients awesome houses in Morningside and the Highlands, and houses were pretty expensive. They were expensive, and driving home, I live in Grant Park, and where I get off the exit, there's often times somebody's standing there and asking for help. And roll down my window, talk to the guy, I pulled it off, and I was like, man, the houses that I was just showing, they are so above the need or baseline level. And awesome for people
Sure.
to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, love that. But then there's also a couple miles away someone that he's sleeping under the bridge tonight. And I was like, that just does not seem right. I mean, it just doesn't seem, it seems like we should have the resources in our city to be able to do it. And I think the real estate industry, like, this is our thing. I mean, housing is our thing.
Yeah.
So, yes, I want to help people buy those awesome houses that they're in the position to do, but want to help everybody take a step forward in housing, because I just believe that, man, where you live, it matters. The community that you're in matters. The people you're around matters. And, we can get to kind of how I first got connected to the Atlanta mission. But you do all of those things amazing for the clients. Is all of those things is who you're around and the place that you are and the environment and your community. And so, we want to make a difference with our clients, but also just with Atlanta real estate.
I love that. So how did you get involved with the mission? Let's go back and tell everybody that.
Yeah, so I mean, this may be helpful if someone is listening and they have a business or an entrepreneur and they're thinking about doing it. Honestly, at first, I was really scared to try to use the business outward-facing, to do outward-facing good. I had read this book, Let My People Go Surfing, by the founder of Patagonia. If you haven't read it, it's a fascinating book. It's basically like his autobiography and the story of the company Patagonia. And he has done they've since given away the company to charity since he wrote that book. But it really inspired me to be like, oh, I wonder if we could use our business to do good, the way that they were trying to save the planet with Patagonia. And the first ideas that I had, I shared with some people that I knew and pitched. The responses were pretty negative, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was talking about hey, these giving campaigns and using part of the commission to do X, Y, Z. And I got pretty consistently back either, well, don't you think people will want to just keep that money and do something with it themselves? Or I would rather just why don't you just let me do something with it, and charge me less? And I was like, this is not exactly where I was going with this, to try to charge a lower fee for, the services. And so I was really hesitant to do it, but eventually started to dip my toe in it. And the first couple of things I did honestly weren't that successful. One example, at the end of one year, I sent letters to actual handwritten letter to all of the clients I had helped that year. And I think there were maybe 60 or 70 clients that I'd helped buy or sell a house. And I offered to match any donation they made up to $1,000 to the charity of their choice.
That's incredible.
Well, how many of those 70 people you think responded to me?
None.
Four. I mean, at least some, But I was like, man, I had put aside a good amount of money. I was like, this
you're like,
this
hey, guys.
a lot. And then it's like, nobody's willing to do it, And so next year I switched, and it was, but you learn stuff. And so next year I switched and I sent out, hey, we've put money aside. You pick where it goes. A lot more people, were in on that. And that was also great because I got to learn what people cared about, and I learned about some charities that I didn't know about, connect with people. And so we started to take some steps forward with it. And then the first big step we took, and this is also where we came to connect with the Atlanta mission. We had been serving at some different organizations. And each quarter I was bringing in one nonprofit to speak to the Justin Landis Group, and we'd serve there, and it was kind of good awareness. But we realized after doing that for a couple years that we hadn't made any deep relationships. We'd learned stuff, and but we weren't really making an impact, And we're like, maybe we could go deeper somehow. And so we had this idea to try to do this 90 and 90 campaign where we're going to help 90 buyers buy a house in 90 days and try to raise $90,000 to fight homelessness. We were looking for a partner to do it with, talked with a handful of people. And we had already, been in contact with the Atlanta Mission before, but came and talked with this program with Jack at the time.
Yep.
And he was using words about being relational, not transactional. I mean, so much so, it was such a good meeting. When we left, we walked out and we were like, do you think that they had an inside scoop on our
Do they
language?
know us?
Yeah, I was like, do you think someone has given them a lead on this to be to talk with the words that we use with our clients, And so we partnered with the Atlanta Mission in this first campaign, 90 and 90, and the way that God used this campaign, it's changed my whole life. So we set out to help 90 buyers in 90 days, which we'd never done anywhere near that. So that was a big stretch sales goal. And then to raise the $90,000, we had the idea, why don't we go to all our transaction partners? There's a lot of people in each real estate transaction. It's good for the economy when people buy houses because a lot of people are doing stuff. There's the lender, there's the attorney, the home inspector, home warranty, people get natural gas, there's the mover, insurance agent.
Sure.
So we went to all those folks and we were like, hey, we're going to make a donation to the Atlanta Mission on each of these transactions. Will you do the same thing over the next 90 days? And this was eye-opening. The response, it was so overwhelmingly positive. And the generous nature that people had, for example, I almost didn't ask our homeowners insurance agent because they don't make a lot per policy.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not making a huge commission. And he was like, yeah, I'll do $100 a policy. And I was like, isn't that basically what you make per policy? And he was like, yeah, but I just love what you're doing. This is so inspiring. We want to be a part of it. And that was like just the general vibe that people had. And so it was so cool to see that. We actually did sell the 90th house on the 90th day. It's kind of funny how goals work like that sometimes. It's like you hit like exactly the right amount. And then we raised over $90,000, and Jack and the team had the idea, why don't we challenge the donors of the Atlanta Mission, like tell the story and challenge them to, double it. And then that campaign raised another, I think it was like $180,000. And so we were like, wow, this is just absolutely amazing. We have no fundraising experience. We've never done anything like this before. And the way that God blessed that was just tremendous. And that kind of set my path forward to be a lot more just outward about, hey, we want to use the businesses we have to try to make a difference and do good. Yep. And if some people that is not the right fit for them, that's okay, because the people that it is the right fit for, it's a lot stronger attraction than it is to repel people that it might not be.
I love that. How long ago was that when you did 90 for 90?
I think that was 2017 maybe, 2017 or 18. Okay. So it's been a pretty decent amount of time.
And how has that evolved, or how have you kept that going, or what does that look like now? Yeah,
so we continued to do some campaigns, similar like short-term campaigns, engage folks for a couple of years. And those were also really successful. And then in COVID, we had one scheduled for April, May, and June of 2020, which COVID was like the end of March. So that was like, we're like, well, at this point, this is a really hard time to do a kind of, campaign like this. And so we pivoted out of that campaign, but what ended up becoming of it is I started a real estate brokerage. So the Justin Landis Group is a sales team. It's like the same thing an individual agent would if you worked with one person. We've just divided up the tasks into specialized roles. And then we started a company in 2021 called Bolst, and that's a real estate brokerage. So that's the business of like Keller Williams or Compass or Sotheby's that supports the agents. And it's a benefit corporation. So it's both, like that's the actual corporate designation. It's for profit, for public good. And that's really what became of, that original campaign is we were like, hey, how could we take doing good to a bigger level? And we're like, maybe we could make a company that is even bigger, that attracts people into it, that also want to make a difference. So the end result, kind of the rolling forward of that, is it actually created a new company, and Bolst has over 300 real estate agents here in Atlanta now. And same type thing we're talking, it attracts the type person that wants to make an impact in the city.
Man. For profit, for public good. You don't hear that too often.
It was fun to. It was a new corporate designation actually that year in Georgia. So the attorneys we were working with, to set it up, like this was the first one they had done. So it was kind of fun to do it and pioneer it a little bit as well. So yeah, it's been good.
Okay, so it's obviously grown and evolved, and it's gotten bigger over time. But what would you say to that entrepreneur out there, or maybe what would you say to yourself all those years ago, who they hear this and they think, I would love to do that, but we're too small, or we're just too busy, or what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think, first of all, and this goes from my story, is don't be scared. There's probably some fear in there of either like, I'm not going to be good at it, or maybe this will actually hurt my business or whatever, is don't be scared. My observation from, and I've obviously talked to a ton of people about this now, more people are pro you making an impact and doing something good than people are opposed to it or have some sort of negative thought on it. So just tell yourself like, hey,
give it a shot.
To be scared. Like I should, if I feel like I should want to do something, I should do something. And then the second, two other things on it. Second thing I would say is just pick something.
Yeah.
Pick something you can actually do. That like you can do it. And then it's amazing how when you take that small step, God can make it grow from there. But if you're like, hey, what I can do is serve, let's serve. If what I can do is make a donation on each cell, and maybe the donation is large, maybe it's small, doesn't matter.
Right.
Like take the step and actually do it. And then the third one that I would say is tell other people about it. Because I've been continually surprised that as I've asked people if they are interested in doing stuff or invite them in, a lot of people want to be invited in to making a difference in doing something. And a lot of people just don't know how.
Right.
They want to, but I'm not sure if my money is going to be well used here. I'm not sure if I serve, if I'm actually going to make an impact. I don't know what to do to get set up and started. If you reduce that barrier for somebody, a lot of people will say yes and are really happy and excited to be involved in it.
That's good. And I love just for you, it started with this personal story. I mean, you go back to, you just sold this house, you see these people, you're like, man, the gap between what I was just doing. And I think when it's personal, I mean, it's so easy to see, right? For where you are, there's such a huge overlap between selling houses and then housing insecurity. Like you're just like, wow, I see it. But if people could understand, what is it that lights you up on the inside? What is it that, connects with your heart? Yep. And then just go figure out a way to do that.
Yeah. If you know the answer to that question, man, my advice, just take a step, take a step forward. I think if you don't know the answer to that, you're like, hey, I want to make a difference. I want to do good, but I don't know exactly what to do. I think my advice on that would be find somebody who does have that passion and help them out for a little while.
Just go adopt their passion.
Yeah, adopt their passion, because I think that you'll learn from doing it. Of either it may become your passion, or you may be like, hey, there's a part of this that I love, and that can help give you a little bit of clarity while still making a difference while you're doing it.
How has this gone, or has it gone beyond just 9 to 5 for you? In other words, does this start leaking into the family? Like, is this now a family passion? Do you see this show up? Like, how?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, housing's kind of become the thing. It has become the thing at our family, and I'm so encouraged to see the girls and just their awareness of housing and people we meet, and they love to make sure we have stuff in the car so that if we talk to, and not if we talk to, we near 100%, someone's, asking for help, we roll down the window. The girls learned through the Atlanta mission that a lot of times people that don't have a house, permanent housing, they haven't heard their name in a long time.
Right.
We always ask their name, ask what we can pray for. If I don't ask somebody their name, the girls will be like, Dad, you didn't ask him his name. How are we going to pray for him? You didn't ask his name. And so, that's honestly it's helped me be, even more maybe just bold and, aware as well. And so, the girls, it's definitely constant there. They've loved coming here for Fun Fridays and meeting families, playing, doing that sort of stuff. Has been great for them. And so, it's become, housing has become our family cause.
I love that. And I think, it makes family so much richer if everybody is involved in that cause. It's just, to me, that's one of the most powerful things for Laurie and I and our kids, is it's like, we can all get behind this. I mean, Laurie's serving at the mission today, and it's just like, we're going to be able to go home tonight and have conversation around something common, and it just creates such a healthy family dynamic. So I also love for you that this started personal. You figured out a way to do something. Then you went and you kind of sought out, nonprofits to help. And so I can track your journey, and it's kind of linear, although I'm sure at the time it didn't feel linear. But that's also now led to then you got involved with our President's Council and ultimately helping us raise money because you're on our development committee. And then from that to being on our board, and then now even further from not just being on our board, but also this year starting on our executive committee. So talk to that leader for a second who's thinking about this from a perspective of, I feel like I need to do more. I understand what my passions are. There's this desire in everybody of, I got to be on a board, or, you get the question in there somewhere. Talk to that leader for a second. What does that look like for somebody maybe to use their passion to then also help an organization get stronger and get better as you do with us because you sit on our board? I
mean, as I hear you kind of talk through that, I never set out to say, I want to be on a board. I honestly didn't even know exactly what that meant or what that entailed, quite frankly, until, I was on it. But I think in each of those, I just tried to take the next step and kind of be like, hey, could I actually be helpful here? Would I like it? And so, it was one step kind of led to another. And as I think about it from a leader's standpoint, I hope I have been helpful, in the roles that I've been, but I have learned an absolute ton. I mean, I'll never forget the first development committee meeting I came to. And Heather had this slide deck. I've always had small business, didn't go to business school, always worked for myself. And she's got this slide deck. I have never seen anything like this. No one, the Justin Landis Group or Bolst have ever put anything 1/100th of a PowerPoint deck like this together. And I was like, wow, this organization is legit, you know? And so the amount that I have learned being around you guys and being on the development committee and now the board, it's really helped me a lot. And so, I mean, I hope that I am giving more than I'm receiving, but man, that's been awesome to learn from y'all. The people, I mean, and you know, I'm sure this could be different in other organizations, but the people here at the Atlanta Mission on the committees and boards, amazing. I mean, once again, you know, just it's like a blessing in my life to have met those, you know, to meet so many people and learn from them. So I think for all of that, it's just like find somewhere that you can plug in, take a step. This has kind of been kind of like a theme today. It's just like, hey, take that next step. You don't have to jump from I've never talked to anyone at this organization to I'm on the board.
Right.
You know, I mean, just like
and you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, that's probably a bad idea, actually. Just like take a step to get involved and see where you can help out because your talents probably will be able to be used and you'll probably grow from it yourself, you know, from being a part of it.
I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I think honestly your journey and it is the journey that you've taken, let's say it that way, is really we find on the back end of it, it really does create the best, most engaged board members. It's the board members who start from the like, hey, I work at X company and I'm required to be on a board. Do you guys have any openings that we're probably most leery of? Like, oh, I don't know. Some of those work out. I would say almost 100% of the ones that have your story though. And I think that's so important, especially for young leaders to know. It's just like, hey, get involved, understand what you're excited about, start doing the work. That will take care of itself, especially if you don't go pursuing it. So let's kind of switch gears back to where we started because you know I think this is important and we don't have to get too controversial or anything. But everybody deserves a dream home. It feels like the reality is the gap from that to where we're seeing. I mean, it couldn't be bigger right now. It feels like housing insecurity's on the rise. It feels like the opportunity to own a house is getting smaller and smaller. I mean, what are you're out there in the trenches? Yeah. What are you seeing? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you're right. Housing affordability is at the most challenging point that it's been in my career. I mean, while some of the things that have been good for, the economy and my business, like, you know, a lot of people have moved to Atlanta. Yep. Housing prices have gone up a lot. If you own a house, that's good. If you're in my business, that's good. If you don't own a house, that's tough because it just makes things more expensive. And so, I mean, we've had a lot of growth in the city, but we've also had a lot of price increase with that. And, you know, it's like the end result overall is wages have not kept up with the cost of housing. And that's made puts a lot of pressure on people for sure.
Is that, and you get to be the expert for a second because you're in the hot seat, but is that the wand that you would wave? If you could wave whatever wand that is we need to address, you know, wages. Is that the biggest thing? Is that the quickest solution you feel like?
Man, I mean, there's a handful of things that are needed because there's also across the spectrum, right? I mean, there's housing insecurity on one end, and then you also have kind of like a little bit of a missing middle in the city as well, right? Which is I can afford housing. I'm not insecure, but I can't afford housing here. Right. And so then like I've got to move way outside.
I'm going to live an hour outside of the city.
Yeah, I've got to live way outside the city. That causes problems. Like that's obviously not great for life if you're in the city. It causes problems for business in the city. So, I mean, I think from a housing density standpoint for that, the middle, I think housing density is probably, you know, the biggest thing. But then, I think like overall, you know, wage growth with stable housing. Like obviously if you own a house, it's awesome when it goes up a lot, but you know, some stable housing prices for a while and some wage growth to catch up for it, honestly would probably be pretty good for everyone.
So most of those problems are bigger than what you or I or any of our listeners could go solve. So how do you get up every day with this aspirational, you know, desire that everybody deserves a dream home and not lose hope? What do you find hope in?
I mean, I've really tried to take to heart, Andy Stanley, who's the pastor at the church I go to, says, do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, we're individually not going to solve the housing situation in Atlanta. But if we can make the difference in one person today, one person tomorrow, however many people we can, then that's huge. And that's the difference that you're making. And I think that if you do that, there are a lot, like I said, there are a lot of people in the city that want to make a difference. And I think the more that we do it, 1 here, 10 here, 100 here, that, you know, that kind of thing, can really help. It's one of the things that I love about Atlanta. I mean, I just believe that the people in Atlanta, we just have great, I mean, there's a lot of great people in the city who want to do a lot of good, that want to make Atlanta great, that want to help people. And so I think if we can just be do our role in that, it helps inspire others, and we're going to make great progress on it.
I love that. That's good. I think, you start doing for one person, and I try to live by the same principle as well. That you start doing for one, and then the next day you do it again, you do it again, you do it again, and you're able to look back over the long haul and say, hey, we did something for a group of people.
Yeah.
That if we had just gotten caught on what we couldn't do, we never would have accomplished anything. And that I think that's what the average person can do. It's like, hey, what can I do today? Then what can I do again tomorrow? How can I do it again tomorrow? And just, again, over time, you look back. So as we wrap up, let's talk about generosity for a second. I mean, your company is just insanely generous. You obviously are as well. That's not natural, by the way. So thanks. Thanks. Most for-profits don't look around and figure out how can we be a little less profitable. That's remarkable. We've talked about how it's good for business. Certainly it helps build culture. It helps retain talent. It helps attract talent. But what have you seen that does for individuals within your business? So get granular for me for a second. Why is it good for people? Why is generosity good for people?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been really helpful for this with us is real estate. Real estate agents are 100% commission. And so, we obviously have a staff that have salaries, but, we interact with a lot of agents that 100% commission. So financially, it can be hard to be generous because you don't know. Yeah. You don't know what you're going to make.
You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
You don't know when the next check is coming, right? I mean, most people, the sales cycle, you don't know past 90 days. And so, I've tried to do a good amount of education with the real estate agents to help them still apply, even in that, a give, save, live, mentality. And I think that, first of all, if you're a believer, to be able to live that way and give first to God. I mean, there's so many blessings and benefits come from that because, we're stewards of what He's given us. And, when we take that mentality and live it out, I mean, I think there's just a lot of peace that, that comes from that. And then from the agents and the folks being able to contribute and be a part of it, it's just so good to be a part of something. And I mean, that's one of the things that I've seen the most is no matter what you give, when you have a collective group giving, if you're a part of it, it wouldn't be the same without you.
Right.
You're making a difference. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that, I've seen individually down at the granular level that's just been so great for people is, you get to be a part of something big, and that fills people up. It helps them see the impact of their generosity. Right. And then I think it makes it easier to become a habit and to say yes the next time and all that sort of stuff.
Plus, I think, it's, how do you account for the benefit of getting to do something and be a part of something that's so much bigger than yourself, right? You're a part of this. My little piece may not feel like a lot, but it's a big piece of this puzzle. But even as much as you love real estate and as much as I love what I get to do, we all have those days, right, where I just don't want to do this today.
It's a job.
It's a job. It's a means to an end. My family needs food on the table, so I get to go do this. And when you're a part of something like that, it takes a job and it says, okay, I can get up and go do that again today. So,
for sure.
Justin, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of our podcast. We hope to see you again next time. Unseen Atlanta is proud to be sponsored this season by the Scott Pryor Law Group. At Scott Pryor Law, they treat every client like family. If you've been injured, their mission is simple. You focus on healing, and they'll handle the rest. Scott Pryor, a U.S. Marine and trial attorney, and his team believe in compassion, justice, and serving their community. So if you or a loved one has been injured, reach out to the Scott Pryor Law Group today. They'll walk with you every step of the way. You can learn more at scottpryorlaw.com. What an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for listening to Unseen Atlanta. If you believe in building a stronger, more compassionate city, we need you. Visit atlantamission.org to learn how you can donate, volunteer, or share these stories. And most importantly, keep showing up. Together, we can invest in Atlanta and transform lives.